So we're starting here on page 18 in line 251, and we are in the speech of Agelaus. Right? If you remember, Agelaus is urging on the other suitors, and he's saying, let's try and kill Odysseus and his friends because they're all on their own. They've even been abandoned by Mentor / Athena. And so he starts by saying to, which means literally by this, which I translated in my version as therefore. And then we have a negative command, mer effiete, do not hurl. And we also have pantes, so do not all hurl your durata macra, your long spears, right? Macros means long, like macro economics or whatever, and durata spears. So do not all hurl your long spears together, hammer. There's also this word nun, which means now, and I didn't actually put that in originally, so I've added it here. Therefore, now, do not all hurl your long spears together. Al agete, but come. And you can see that agete has been elided into ageth with a theta because it just it elides into the next word, hoi, ageth hoi. And that means but come. The six, hoi hex, or in English we might say U6, since it's vocative. U6, throw first. So accontisate is a plural imperative. So you throw first, in other words, throw your spears first. I care. Now, I here is just like a, E-I in later Greek. It means if. And care just gives it this indefinite sense. If perhaps, or something like that. If, pothi, if ever. So I didn't really translate care. Care just reinforces I, really. So if ever, I, pothi, Zeus, grant, doer. Now this is a subjunctive form from didomi, and it's subjunctive because we're in this kind of unreal conditional context. If Zeus ever does such and such, if Zeus ever grant Odysseus, Odysseia, accusative case, to be struck, blesthai, that's a passive infinitive from ballo, to be struck, and glory, kai kudos, which is a word we still use in English, kudos, to be won, arrestai, so that's another passive infinitive. And then he says, of the others, tone alone, genitive plural, no care, ou caredos. And in English we might say, there is no care. In other words, the others don't matter. Once, epen, that's like epe in later Greek, it means when or since or once. This man, Houtos, i.e. Odysseus, has fallen, persesin. And that's another subjunctive because it's still unreal. It's not something that's actually happened. The idea is, if he falls, we don't need to worry about the others. And again, you have this word get. This is one of the many particles in Homer which, don't actually contribute very much to the meaning. You don't always need to translate them in English because we don't have good English equivalents for these words. And then we get this very common phrase, hos ephaf, which is sometimes written differently. It's sometimes hos fat. Here it's hos ephaf. And you can see the T has become a theta because it's eliding into a vowel with a rough breathing. Hos ephaf hoi. Okay, so he spoke. And they, dehoi, and they, all through pantes akontisan. And ara here is another of these particles that you don't really need to translate. They all through as he had ordered, hos ekeluen. And by the way, just a quick point about ara. In Greek, there are two versions of this word. Ara with an acute accent on the A, like this, is just a particle that we don't really need to translate. Ara with a circumflex, so in other words, if ara was written like this, ara with a circumflex, that's different. That is the word that introduces a question in Greek. Okay. So they all threw, as he had ordered, hiemenoi, literally being eager. That's a participle, hiemenoi. We could say eagerly in English. But Athena, sorry, but is de, and then the subject is Athena, Athena. Therken made, ta panta, everything, all the things, etosia. Now, etosios is an adjective that means in vain, or fruitless, or pointless. In other words, Athena thwarted their attempt. Allos tone, one of them, right? So allos, normally it means other, but in this case, when it's repeated, it's like one of them did this, another did something else. Okay, so one of them, allos tone, and tone is genitive plural, one of them had hit beblerke, pluperfect tense, one of them had hit the staphmon, the doorpost, of the eustathios megaroia, of the well-built hall. So eustathios, that's an adjective meaning well-built, and we've seen a lot this word megaron, which is a hall. Here it has that Homeric genitive ending, oia. And another, alos, another one of the suitors, and then we have to imagine beblerke again, another had hit the poukinos araruian thuren. So poukinos means closely, and araruian means fitting, and a thura is a door. So another had hit the close-fitting door. In other words, it's a door that you can't really see around. It doesn't have lots of gaps, you know, where your feet are or above eye level, right? The door fits closely into the doorway. And then allu, of another one, so that's genitive now, of another one, the ash, now melia means ash in the sense of an ash tree, but here I think the idea is, you know, a spear made of ash. Right, so of another one, the ashen spear, calcobarea, that's an adjective that literally means bronze heavy, so we could say heavy with bronze or something like that, fell, pese, aorist of pipto, fell, en toiko, on or upon the wall, toikos. So that's en plus dative, upon the wall. So in other words, Athena, the goddess, has made all of their spears miss. Okay, and then we go to the next page, to line 260, and it begins autar epe, but when, and then dare means something like indeed, although you don't really need to translate it necessarily, but when aluanton, they avoided, or in English we might say when they had avoided, the durata, the spears, of the suitors, meneasteron, genitive plural. And I think the subject of aluanton must be, you know, Odysseus and his companions, you know, his son Telemachus, and, you know, the swineherd Eumaeus, and the cowherd Philoetius. So when they had avoided the spears of the suitors, Polutlas dios Odysseus, much enduring, noble Odysseus, Erke was the first, right? This is from arco, to begin, you know, was the first speaking, muthon, to them, tois, or among them. And what does he say? He says, "O philoi, friends. Now, ede, I would say a poimi." This is from the verb lego, and it's what we call an optative form. It is in the optative mood, because the idea is I would say, not I do say, but I would say. For us, ammi, this is a Homeric dative form of hair mace. Right? I would say for us. Also, kai, to akontisai, to hurl, in other words, hurl our spears, as homilon, into the throng of the suitors, mnesteron, genitive plural. In other words, I think we should throw our spears into the throng of the suitors, who, hoi, are eager, memaasin, or hope, to exenarixai, to kill us, right? So hermeas is the accusative of hermes, meaning us, who hope to kill us. Epi, now epi plus dative in this situation, I think, means in addition to, right? In addition to their proteroisi kakoisin, their former proteros, kaka. Now, kaka are bad actions, right? Wrongdoings. And here it's dative, plural, following epi. So in addition to their former wrongdoings. And then we get this very common Homeric phrase again, ho zephat, so he spoke. And they all hurl pantes akontisan, their sharp spears, oxea dura, their sharp spears, aiming, okay, titus skomenoi is a participle that means aiming, and then anta is an adverb that means straight on, straight ahead. Aiming straight ahead. And then we get a list of who killed who. So, so all of these, so you've got a few subjects here in the nominative case, right? Odysseus, sorry, let me just change the alphabet here. So Odysseus is a subject. Telemachus is a subject. Subotes is a subject. And Epiboukolos aner is a subject. And then the objects are demoptolemon, accusative, Euruaden, accusative, Elaton, accusative, Peisandron, accusative, and the verb which governs all of this is epephne, which means struck someone. So in other words, Odysseus struck Demoptolemus, Telemachus struck Euryades, the swineherd Subotes, referring to Eumaeus, struck Elatus, and the herdman, Epiboukolos aner, the herding man of cows, boon, genitive plural, struck, epephne, peisander. So that's how it works. And again, ara, this word ara that keeps recurring, you don't really have to translate necessarily. And that takes us to the end of page 20.